The YMCA of Austin, I'm a site director. I pretty much carry out the curriculum with my other co-worker, and we make sure that the kids get through every section of the curriculum every day, give them more knowledge every day about other things out there in the world that they may have not known before. And we also teach them honesty, faith, respect, responsibility, and to be caring to others.
4 years ago, I met the wonderful Isaac. I was put over his region as his program director, and he was one of my site leads, so overseeing one of my after-school sites. And just coming in straight away, you can tell that Isaac just embodies everything that the YMCA is about, all the core values. And that was just meeting him without kids, and then going in and seeing him participate and be this mentor to the children on his site it just escalated it even more.
We're a family at the YMCA. That's one thing I know for sure. We are tight-knit, we are together, we help one another. There isn't any gaps of like, wait, I didn't get this or I did not get that. If you ask for it, you're going to get it.
He was at Canyon Creek after school up in Round Rock, and he just really built those relationships with all the stakeholders. So the schools, the kids, the families, up until the point where parents are reaching out to us as I'm signing up for after school, just want to make sure it's Mr. Isaac. And we would say, yep, it's him.
I love making an impact, and that's what I do at the YMCA. Make an impact, see the kids smiling, and the parents. Oh, the parents' reactions are top notch. Like I've seen parents, Isaac, thank you so much. My kid came home smiling, which usually, I guess some other days they may come in different emotions, but whenever they go to after school care, they usually 9 times out of 10 going home with a smile.
Who's that shining light at the end of the day when, we go home and we think about our staff development and who we're really investing in leadership positions? Every single time I'm gonna bet on Isaac, and I know that he's gonna come through for us.
Been the board president at East Communities since, I don't know, the last year and a half or so. I was invited by my dear friend Cinnamon Hemline, who I hired 2 decades ago as a second grade teacher, and then promoted her up to principal at Austin Discovery School. And then later, I guess it's been not quite a decade, that she became executive director of the East Communities branch and invited me to join her on the board.
We knew we needed people with certain skill sets, and Sam just came to mind. And it's like, Sam would be really great on our board, so I called him up and said, hey Sam, you wanna have lunch? And he said, I was waiting for you to call me. Like, he just knew that one day he would be on the board with me.
It does give me great satisfaction to feel that I'm contributing to that community and helping give back. An awful lot of what I have done is help generate funds for lower income folks and children so that they can enjoy the Y and be part of that community. He's
very instrumental in firing up our board for fundraising and helping them, realize their role on the board to contribute time, talents, treasures, and helps people kind of unlock any blocks that they have.
Before the pandemic started, I had made arrangements with philanthropists to fund first grade swimming program, but also a robotics program in East Austin for after school. But the pandemic changed all of those plans, and the money was desperately needed for the emergency relief fund. So the philanthropist agreed to shift that funding over to the emergency relief fund for employees.
So that was one of the first seeds of money to help employees that were furloughed or even not furloughed during the pandemic pay the bills. And Sam helped that happen.
It's a wonderful group of people. I certainly cannot take credit for for anything individually. I think this award should probably go to all of them.
He's always thinking about how he can help out, how he can do things, how we can help solve a problem together in society, and it's genuine. It's just who Sam is.
Last year on March the 13th, our city shut down along with other cities across our nation. And it was a time that our children had nowhere to go. Our families had nowhere to send their children. Our essential workers had no answers. And it was through the generosity of the Moody Foundation that we were able to go ahead and open up our essential pop-up cares. And this is during a time that no one knew what was in front of us, but we did know that children needed a place to be.
I asked Emily Greer, our Central Texas grants coordinator, to approach all of our partners in Austin, including the Y, saying, what can we do to help you all today? Things that we've either helped you with in the past or new needs of the Y. My children are grown, but in my head I was thinking, what would I do if all of a sudden my kids weren't in school and I had to go to the office, my wife had to go to the office, it would have been difficult.
They had things that were familiar. They had the children's songs. They had the children's games and ability to run around outside and have fun and really be able to play in the arts. They had new experiences, virtual field trips, but they had a individual or youth development leaders that were watching after them during the day that really quickly became those role models, became those friends, and we had parents that could go and do that essential work that we needed as a community to go ahead and get through this pandemic.
And if the Moody Foundation could help you all provide childcare for families who need to go back to work, or they need to work remotely without distraction, or their children need that balance of not being at home perhaps, trying to keep, a certain amount of consistency in their lives, which is important to kids. We felt like we were in a position to help.
The Moody Foundation has just continued to be this support system for the Y, and even took it further in the summer when we opened up more locations for our summer camps and our Child Care for All, and really wanted to go ahead and be there for more of the workforce that was rolling back into their work environment. So we opened up multiple locations, and again, the Moody Foundation was there for us.
Believe it or not, it's kind of far and few between when the Moody Foundation is recognized for what we do for the communities that we serve. And so for you guys who have broad support, across the community to choose the Moody Foundation, for this award, it's an honor. I've spoken to my sister, I've spoken to my daughter, and we are just thrilled that this is going on.
Thank you so much, Moody Foundation. Without you, we could not have pulled off 2020.
So obviously last March, unfortunately, COVID came to Central Texas and we had to shut down our YMCA branches. Shortly thereafter, we were looking for ways to continue to serve the community. And our former CEO hooked up with Brighter Bites, and we began to have conversations.
Brighter Bites is a nutrition education nonprofit organization, and our mission is to create communities of health through fresh food. We approached the YMCA to be able to have new distribution sites that could deliver produce to hundreds of families in one day. And so we were really, really fortunate to be able to partner together.
Food insecurity was an issue before the pandemic and definitely just got worse when COVID came here. So we began a partnership with Brighter Bites, and they have been just tremendous in helping us serve the community.
The YMCA team was totally on board from the beginning. We've had great partnerships. Andrew has kind of led us through all of those and helped us identify sites. He worked with the North Austin YMCA and the East Communities YMCA, both to be able to have a location that served the Brighter Bites families from last school year, and also reach more families that were in areas that might be hit harder by the pandemic, that might have higher need than others.
Every day, rain or shine. Summer was hot a bunch of days when we were out there passing out boxes, but I remember a couple of days where it was just pouring rain, but the cars kept coming.
We served over 300,000 pounds of produce over those 4 months last summer across all the YMCA sites that we served with. And we could not have done that without volunteers every week at every site, and we really, really appreciate that.
Bethany Dawson has been tremendous and our main point of contact, but all of her staff team that we see out at the sites, they show up, they're energetic, they're consistent, they're just full of passion for serving the community.
Health is so important for living a good life, and the YMCA knows that, Brighter Bites knows that, and so to me it makes a ton of sense that we're working together to help the families of Austin.
So it all started like 20 years ago when, like many people, I joined here because I needed a gym and a pool, and the location is perfect. I worked downtown. Somewhere along the way, I got asked to see if I wanted to, get more involved and serve on this branch board, which I did accept. Being on the Town Lake branch board for 8 years, you just get different roles and you take on different things. But towards the end, I served as the chair for 3 years. And when you're the chair, you also serve on the Metro board. And so when my role as chair wrapped up, it just was kind of a natural fit for me to remain on the Metro board. And so that's what I chose to do.
Well, I joined the board 3 or 4 years ago, and Reagan's just omnipresent. He's always at the board meetings. He's been chair of the finance committee for some time, and I got invited to join the executive committee, and that's when I got to know him even better with his reports from the finance committee, and his calm demeanor. He's kind of the guy you want with you when you're in a storm. I mean, looking back over the last year, this has been the hardest year I can imagine for a finance committee chair going through COVID, and Reagan never seemed ruffled. He always came with calm energy, and you just had confidence that he was on top of it.
I formed what was called the COVID task force. That wasn't the name when we started. We just had an immediate emergency meeting, and we met very regularly to try to strategize and outline how in the world we were going to, deal with all of this, and knowing that the financial impact was going to be severe and swift. This is not knowing, about PPP funding or what kind of fiscal stimulus we would get to help us, but we knew we just had to be engaged and on top of things, and that's what we did.
He's risen to the occasion. I know that his workload probably quadrupled during COVID, and all of the questions and projections they had to do, and uncertainty and PPP loans, and changing of our CEO and everything that's come with it. But he's never missed a beat. Been really impressed with his commitment to the organization, and when the Y needed Reagan to stand up and deliver, he did.
I remember the first annual meeting I went to all those years ago, and when I saw the description of that award, I thought, well, there's one I'll never get. Because at that point, I just hadn't evolved into being the kind of volunteer that I've become, which it's really fulfilling, I gotta say.
To win the Will Miller Award, I mean, we're talking about the who's who of Y board members over the last, 30, 40 years, right? I mean, you look at that list, and these are people that have made indelible marks on the Y and the evolution of the Y and what we've become today. And, of course he's gonna win it this year. I mean, Reagan was the guy, he was the man this year, and helped us through dark times. And there are Ys around the country that are in terrible financial straits right now, and we're not. It's because Reagan was at the helm.
There's so many people that have won this or received this recognition prior to me, who I have great respect for. And they've served as my mentors on how to best become, a productive volunteer, a volunteer who can step up and have an impact while not, getting in everyone's way and overdoing it. So I just want to thank all those folks, and I want to thank the YMCA for, acknowledging me in this fashion, because it's a true honor.
I actually started with the Y as a staff person in Hawaii for 18 years. And then we moved here to Texas, and I ran into an old colleague of mine, Christy Paul, who was the new executive director for the new Springs, the brand new Springs, which had been a private gym. And then I joined the Springs branch. And from there, I got involved with some metro activities through the finance committee and the operations committee, basically just so the Springs could kind of have a voice in the larger association. And then from there, I guess move forward to other opportunities with other committees and the strategic planning process and things like that, and ended up here as chair.
So I met her in a strategic planning cycle, and we became friends at that time, and she went on from there to very, very high heights in the Austin YMCA. I've worked with her on a number of projects in the area of fundraising, strategic planning, governance, all kinds of leadership positions. She always comes ready to play. She always comes ready to give her best, and she always comes ready to create new ways of thinking about how the YMCA can better do its job.
What keeps me going is thinking that there are so many more people that we haven't even thought about reaching, that we could reach. And this past year and a half has shown us that it's only limited by our imagination. And so I think that I'm looking forward to seeing how we can connect to a greater, not just in the building membership, but a greater community impact and membership all over.
The Will Miller Volunteer Leadership Award is the highest recognition a volunteer can achieve at the YMCA of Austin. It's got a very long and important history as part of our organization. I've always viewed it as a lifetime achievement award for someone who has shown over the years to be not only dedicated to the Y and its mission, but willing to roll up their sleeves, take on various tasks, serve as a leader, serve to inspire other people. I think it's completely well-deserved, and I congratulate Dorothee on many, many years of really powerful service to this association.
As far as the award goes, I would like to thank whoever nominated me, whoever voted for me. Again, with the caveat that everyone on the board, everyone on staff deserves this level of recognition because of all we've gone through and all the personal and professional sacrifices people have made to get us here. And so I just want to say thank you.